Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, magandang umaga, tanghali, gabi, and konbanwa to everyone. This is from our own Ryan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Icy Fit. And disclaimer, no politics, no religion. Please speak English. You speak Japanese and Tagalog. Any other languages, please stick to English. We're going to talk about 3 surprising things okay, I'm just going to read my script, okay? 3 surprising things struggling adult children. What can we do as adults to influence the next generation? If you're a parent, if you're a guardian, what can we do to help and guide our children in a good path? How can we approach these struggles as an adult? And what are the healthy boundaries we can put in place to ensure our well-being and also the children's well-being, the new generation? So that is what I wanted to explore with you guys. And disclaimer, do not get too personal. These are the things that might trigger you along as we explore and discuss these things. But always keep in mind that we in Icy Fit, together in behalf of all the people that will be participating and our regulars in the community, this is all about sharing different perspective. You have to bear in mind that your experiences might not be someone else's experiences as well. With that being said, do not get petty with moi. And also, I have this. Ayan, this is soy milk cocoa, my favorite. I feel like a kid. I'm gonna drink in a Tetra Pak. Straight to the point. The 3 surprising things struggling adult children tell me. So this is under boundaries for, obviously, my favorite website, Psychology Today. It is from Jeffrey Bernstein. I already checked him out. He's legit. He has a book as well. And he's also a Ph.D. But you can always check it, cross-reference it, because these are not absolute. These are just articles that I do share and I do discuss because I want to know more. And what is the better way to know more than talk to different types of people in all walks of life? What you can do as a parent, and I just don't want to limit this to parents, but also to guardians, people who deal with children, of course. I want to talk about these things so you can help your adult children to heal. So as a parent, we've always said this: if you are a parent, being a parent is forever. It's something that I assumed, and hopefully to all parents out there and want to be a parent someday, whether it's biological or not biological, adopting kids, those are the things that is going to be irrelevant. If you are taking care of any children or any adult children for that matter, this article, this conversation, this stream is going to be related to you. For life. Yes, so for life. This is what I'm saying with all parents, expecting in a way where it's not just about you as your own kid, but adopting, taking care, or being a guardian. If you accept that responsibility, it's not something that there's a limitation in it. It's going to be forever. Being a parent, you can never stop guiding. You can never stop helping your kids. And I don't know why, but obviously I'm also a mother. Father are usually different in a way, but I wanted to know a lot of these things. The key points for this article, of course, there are 3 things that are key points. Struggling adult children may surprise their parents with emotional struggles simmering for years. The key to parents is to approach these revelations with compassion, curiosity, and openness. Healthy boundaries reflect not your worth as a parent, but a healthy step toward your child's independence. I wanted to highlight these healthy boundaries. As half Filipina and grew up partly in the Philippines, I noticed boundaries are not implemented as you are growing up. It's not part of okay, my fellow Filipinos, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was like growing up in the Philippines, this is one thing that I really realized as an adult, that it is not implemented as we grow up. There are no boundaries in kind of like larger scale of things or in the bigger picture of things. And why I'm saying this, as a Filipino, if you go to a different country, it's different. The culture is different. Filipinos tend to take care of people around them. Always think the good benefits that they can do, not for themselves, but with people around them, including not just your immediate family, but it all goes down to the, as long as you're in the same clan or same surname, it's gonna go and spread. Neighborhood, community, it's just that. Think about other people before yourself. And healthy boundaries, I realize, is a very good thing to implement in all factors of your life, because people likes to poke. People likes to trigger someone. People likes to make chaos. And we as human being, including me at some point of my life, being half Filipina as well, we tend to love drama, because I don't know if it's correlated with soap. Like if you watch Mexicans and Filipinos, they're so similar in some ways, but not everyone, of course. This is just a generalization. It's not going to be for everyone, and that is why we have this kind of discussion. Agree to disagree. If you disagree on what I'm saying, it's all right. There's nothing wrong with that, but do not insist if someone will disagree with you, and that is how to be an adult. Correct me if I'm wrong. This article is again from Dr. Jeffrey Bernstein. Just a little recap of who the person or who the author is. Jeffrey Bernstein is a parent coach and psychologist with over 30 years of experience providing child, adolescent couples, and family counseling and coaching. He conducts seminars and public speaking events on child, teen, adult, child behaviors, self-esteem, addictions, self-mutilation. Ooh la la. It's been a while since I've heard that word. ADHD, learning disabilities, discipline, difficult children, parenting issues, personal wellness, workplace challenges, and leadership development throughout the greater Philadelphia area. So to all people, if you ever come up in this video, if you're from Philadelphia, let me know in the comments down below. There's a lot of books that he made, actually letting go of anger, the anxiety, depression at some point of our life. Self-help books. Usually some people I've known, even me included, when I was like reading self-help books or just kind of like researching on different stuff, I always feel cringed about it. But for the most part, and for my experiences alone, I've learned so much from these people. They are PhD, they are there for a reason, so that they can also guide us in our life, especially the ones who studies, who actually put their whole life in making all of this happen for all of us to apply to ourselves. So self-help books, you don't have to tell everyone that you're reading it. Just read from time to time, because reading is definitely one form of learning. If you don't want to learn in this phase of your life just because you think you are old, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, let me drink my cocoa.
A few moments later.
It's very, very quickie. Very. So if you guys are in my Discord, you can see I share new stuff that I see in Japan, because Japan is very, very, very good at producing different weird and different super nice stuff, from weird to extreme end of the food palette. English speaking is wrong now. So as a counseling psychologist, I've spent countless hours listening to adult children wrestling with complex emotions and challenges. Interestingly, many parents he also work with assume they know what their grown children are going through. But you know what? With this, it's not just about parents. I think with social media, with what kind of technology we have right now, where everyone has the internet in the pocket, in the palm of their hands, I feel everyone thinks that and assume that they know everything in the world. And sometimes it's very, very mind-boggling to me to actually hear it from different people. It's not my place to say like, no. Because for me, I always say this, I choose to be nice at default, especially when you're dealing in social media. People loves to be relevant. That's why the more you stay in internet, the more you stay in social media, the more you want and need to feel relevant, especially if your goal is to reach high heights in here, which is, I'm not going to say I am not like that. Of course, I do have a goal to make ICFit big, to create a sustainable flow, not just in my own life, but also in order to continue streaming and do a lot more for you guys. I just really think the more you consume social media, the more it's very easy to stray away from what's realistically happening in the world and just get stuck in whatever people that you listen to, you follow to, and everybody wants to feel relevant. Crediting someone, saying thank you, appreciating someone's content. Sometimes the intentions are lost. And this is the reason I really feel lucky, because even with 3 years of doing this, I get to attract good people. And I like that. I like the diversity. If you're a bad person, it's not relevant for me. As long as you interact and you actually add something to my conversation, to the topic, to the people in the community, that is the only thing I focus on. Now, if you are malintentioned, your intentions are bad, then that's where I lost interest. You know what I'm saying? Please behave. Do not be an adult children, hence man-child, hence immature. But you can be immature, guys. Just come from a good place. We can have our inner child come out, but do not be too bad, because it does really rub me the wrong. I'm not saying I'm good. I'm just saying if you're so obviously bad, it's just like, I don't want to talk to you. Do you feel the same way, guys? There are certain people like that. Like sometimes there's this feeling. Before at least as of recent, if I like a person, sometimes this is my weakness. I don't listen to my gut feeling. If I like a person, you feel the gut feeling, but because I really like them, it's like, no, I'm going to push more. Unfortunately, that's why we have that human instinct. It is kind of like a defense mechanism by default. So I'm going for the next year to come. It's going to be one of my goal is to make sure, listen, do not get stubborn and listen to my gut feelings. Do not be all out, even if you like the person. The truth is often surprising, isn't it? And then continue with what I'm reading. Oh, I saw that. I saw that reaction. Do more, please. I think you should do that, guys. If I talk too much and I am ignoring your chats, you should do the reaction, because my eyes, for whatever reason, always goes there. And because it's in the chat, then I get to read if someone is already typing something. But thank you guys for being here and listening. Hopefully, oh yes, like that. I like that. Yes. Me too. I'll do that too. I think I've liked this. yes, I like that. You don't have to type. You'll just have to react. So you don't have to do anything else. But listen to my voice. Unless you wanted to share something, then please do type, because it does help my algorithm as well. Below are the 3 common adult children bring up in therapy sessions that might catch parents off guard. For each, I'll offer practical tips on how parents can respond in ways that foster healing and understanding. So why am I talking about this? I know I've learned that you cannot parent a parent. The respect of mutual respect to parents, you can never advise a parent of what to do. Unsolicited advice. It's almost like common sense to me is don't tell them. You just don't. You let them be a parent to their kids. Because at the same time, I always see it as I don't want people to tell me what to do with my kids. I don't want to do it with other people just knowing that I don't want it to be done to me. And the reason I cannot tolerate bad people that choose to be rude just to be rude, is because of that common thought. Do not do unto others what you don't want to do unto you. But unfortunately, we're humans. We're not going to be 100% on top of things, especially if we have so much things going on in our personal life. And the reason I give benefit of the doubt. But when I give benefit of the doubt, it's an effort for me. Especially I'm an online It's an online presence. I think it's a very good skill to have. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But I think it's a good thing to have and to level up on that skill, because we cannot feel each other energy, especially if you guys are just typing. And I've seen multiple streams in my journey. And don't get me wrong, some people can actually misread things on the chat, because depending on what kind of person are you, if you're a bad person, sometimes the people in the chat would say something from a good place. But because at the face of your life, you're so toxic, you're so negative, that how you read it tells more about you as a person, not the person who writes it. So I think that's one of the things that I realized dealing things online. Am I correct? Don't get butthurt so easy. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was a teenager and a young adult, you know. I'm still a young adult. But you guys, don't laugh. I'm seeing you guys are laughing at me. Random advice that nobody asked for. Wait, guys, if I do this, I do my due diligence to let you know, guys, that if I talked here, it doesn't mean that's the only way, okay? That's just my opinion. These are just opinions. And I'm okay for you to disagree. I don't shy away from that, because I love it when you disagree. But it means, for me, I don't want you to disagree just because you want to create chaos. I don't like that. That's malintention. It's a very bad intention. But I want you to disagree because you believe in it. You believe in other things. And it's fine, because we're not walking in the same level in the face of our life. You might be already there. I'm still learning. I never stop learning. I don't like to stop learning. There's so much things to learn out there. You'll be amazed if you only just open your mind. If you are an adult, but you're still a child. I don't know how to say that in one phrase. You have good people in this world, in this universe, but if you're not gonna allow yourself to be good, to be nice at default, you will never attract these types of people, because good people likes to be surrounded with good people that are already there. They know the basic necessities to live. If you are a type of person, you likes to cater your toxicity, you likes to feed the need to be negative with people, then good people are not going to come your way. And if they do, those are the rare ones. You know, I feel like we meet people for a reason. And sometimes there are people who are more tolerative, or they have more resilience with people who choose to be rude. They like to reach out. And I don't want to say that I want to be like that, because I cannot babysit anyone. Oh my God, especially adult. You know, I've learned just doing streams, you know, sometimes I feel like some people expect me to babysit you guys in the chat. It's like, what are you, 12? So I don't like that obligation, okay? If you're an adult, I'd rather you stick to be an adult. But I understand there are men, child, woman, child out there. I give the benefit of the doubt. But if it's not going to be reciprocated, then I don't know what to tell you. Forgetting that actions have consequences, then complain about consequences after choosing to take wrong actions. Yes. Oh, yes. I'm not going to be here saying like, oh, I always take my consequences, blah, blah, blah. I'm a perfect, mature. No, you know, I'm not going to say that. All I can do is walk the walk and talk the talk. And I know I'm going to be doing mistakes along my journey, but I don't shy away from that. That's why I always say accountability, maturity, it goes both. But if you are not willing to learn, and if you are just wanting to,
well, I'm too old to change my ways.
Or like,
I'm this, I'm like this. Just, accept me for...
There are things you have to accept, like me being talkative. But I do adjust. You know, I like to adjust, but sometimes can't help it. So those are things that you cannot change. But treating someone good or bad is always goes down with choice. If you want to treat someone rudely, do not get butthurt if that person would reciprocate what you are treating them. You might think,
well, That's who I am.
Well, then you're a very bad person. So number one of the three most surprising things that adult children struggles with that has been talked about in a therapy session is, I still feel like I'm not good enough for my parents. And we've heard this many, many times with adult kids. Despite their accomplishments or independence, many adult children harbor feelings of inadequacy. I like that word, inadequacy. They recall childhood experiences where they felt they couldn't meet their parents' expectations. This lingering sense of not being good enough often resurfaces during pivotal life moments, whether it's a career decision, relationship choice, or even the desire to be good parents themselves. So what parents can do about it? Shift from fixing to affirming instead of offering solutions or advice. When we say this, do not be in a defense mode. Do not get triggered about this. Just internalize it, because this is not just for parents of biological kids. It goes down to any human being, any human adult that wants to help and guide an adult children or your other children out there. There's guidance counselor, teachers, coaches, nieces and nephews. If you're an uncle, you have kind of right to say your piece and guide this new generation in this universe. So instead of offering solution as we were talking about earlier, try acknowledging their efforts and celebrating their strengths. But I see a kind of like a hole in this one, because sometimes I feel like there's like participation trophy, everyone is a champion. I'm not for that. I mean, being a competitive in nature, especially if you have boys, should be there. Like even with girls, if you have no grit, if you have no competitive character in you, people would swallow you, okay? So a simple, I'm proud of the person you've become can mean more than you realize. And number two is to emphasize progress over perfection. Share stories from your own life about mistakes you've made and how they've contributed to your growth. Modeling vulnerability can help your adult child understand that life is about evolving, not achieving perfection. Ooh. And validate their feelings. If they express doubts or insecurities, don't dismiss them. You're fine, or you're overthinking it. Instead, validate their feelings by saying, I can see why you'd feel that way, before offering encouragement. Ooh la la. You know, sometimes I have this thing where I'm the type of person which I give tough love. That's kind of like my base. Especially if you're a dude. It's like, suck it up. It is what it is. Move on. Kind of. But in this process of what we call life, I understand that there are people who are sensitive than others. So in my situation, I am up for the challenge where I actually find my own place to be with friends that are sensitive, to be with people around me that are sensitive. And I try to filter as much as I can, because even though that's who I am, at the end of the day, I don't want to be disrespectful when it's not my intention anyways. So I am having a wonderful time learning a lot of vocabularies, learning a lot from you guys' stories, learning a lot from situations that I don't think I will ever be in, but knowing the context of how to do it, what are the dynamics in certain situations and problems. Then I get to internalize myself. What are the things that I'm okay with and what are the things that I'm not okay with? I know it's too much to think for, I don't know if it's just me who thinks like this. I'm too OCD on that, but human behavior, human beings fascinates me as fuck. So I love to know the different dynamic of where I could be in that journey as well. Number two of this, I wish my parents would ask me how I'm doing. And listen, many adult children express frustration that their conversations with their parents feel surface level. They talk about work, kids, day-to-day logistics, but there's little room for a more profound emotional connection. These children long for their parents to ask about their mental health, personal struggles, or even just how they're feeling emotional without jumping to conclusions or trying to fix things. And while we talk about these things, we should probably talk about this more in the next stream to come, because it really touched a lot of things that I think when it comes to parenting and being a kid and turn into an adult, there are a lot of context lost. It's like, for one, if you never had that connection with your parents, that's where friends are for. You build friends along the way. That's where you basically channel out the things that you cannot do with your parents. But I'm not dismissing that parents should be more emotionally invested. But there's where being an adult gets in with. One day you're gonna be an adult. You as a kid. I am once a teenager, a kid, and become an adult. Anything that my parents didn't do to me that I wish they did is not and shouldn't be a baggage. It shouldn't be something that you would leverage to them like,
You didn't do this to me. You didn't blah, 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 blah.
it's past. If your parent is not such a piece of shit, and I believe me, I know there are parents that really deserved how their kids are treated them. But in my point of view, at the end of the day, especially with your mothers, your mother spent 9 months holding you on their belly with that certain effort that they did. If your mother is such a piece of shit, you can just walk away. But you don't have to carry a baggage of you've never had a good parent. This is the time where you should change that behavior and stop the cycle with the next generation. You've seen what is bad from your parents. Now do that with your kids, but the different thing. But at the same time, there's also complication in that. I've seen many poor people that comes from that. They've never had things in their life. So once they get into the success life, they would give everything to their kids because they've never had it. It's called baggages. Now you're basing your life as a parent because of your past baggages, not because of the intention that you want your kid to be a good adult someday. And that is why being a parent shouldn't be taken lightly. So believe me, I do worry about Japan because we don't really produce a lot of babies. But at the same time, you cannot blame Japanese that they take these things seriously. Because at the end of the day, this is going to be the next generation that will take care of our society. So there's a lot of factors in this one. It's not going to be just one. All we can do individually is try to do our best to make sure that the next generation would have a good society around them. And not a bunch of okay? Especially with our men. It doesn't have to be gender wars. Men should be men. Do not be like us. We are women for a reason. If you think we're bitches, do not act like a because you're a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So the number 3 is, I don't think this is a surprise actually, but I think it's more of an eye-opener that this is a huge, big deal with adult children that are struggling right now. I don't feel like I'm allowed to have boundaries with my parents. Oof. This is a good one. Boundaries between parents and children can be blurry while growing up. Parents naturally assume a leadership role in their children's lives. Oh God, it's very hard, you know. However, when children become adults, maintaining healthy boundaries becomes crucial. Yet many adult children feel uncomfortable setting limits with their parents, fearing they will disappoint them or cause conflict. They struggle with how to assert their independence while maintaining a healthy relationship. Ooh la la. Yep. And we call them helicopter parents, always buzzing around them. Yes. And it's very hard. You know, sometimes I get to daydream about this. If you are a mother or a father you would always hear kids are growing up and you feel the loneliness. I've heard this many times with my mom. Like, I wish you were still a kid, blah, blah, blah. Kudos to my mom. She never made me feel that I cannot handle my situation. I'm pretty sure she wants to be on top of things. But at the same time, because she is more, I would say, highly intelligent when it comes to life overall, how to make sure that you're going to be successful in the real world, she made me experience things up front in a realistic way. So I'm just really happy. I mean, my mom probably with other people has flaws. But this is the one thing that I've learned as a parent, no matter how much we want to be part of our kids' life, there are certain things that we should back off. And this is how you have to be mature. Because always trying to feel,
because I feel this, because I am like this,
blah, 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 and so on and so on, it's gonna hurt some other person. It's gonna hurt your kid in the long run. Because if you're gonna just shelter them, and then one day they want to be out there because they're gonna have to work, they're gonna have relationships, you can't handle other people around them. So if you're not gonna give them the basic foundation of how to function in a society, then you made a wrong choice, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, it's not gonna be the parents who are gonna be struggling about this. It's gonna be the kid who's going to struggle. But usually, as I've seen it, many parents only think of short term. What am I feeling? What is my kid's feeling? Who gives a shit? It's a kid. You're an adult, for
yeah.
You're supposed to be in control when they're kids and not the other way around. Once they get to be an adult, they're gonna have their time and you're gonna have to back off whether you like it or not. And I am noting this to myself. If I ever get... I'm saying this to myself, but when I edit this, I'm gonna have to... And don't let your mom run here. I don't like the consequence. At the end of the day, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. That's too much. You know, if it's just me, I'm not gonna harm anybody, no one would be judged in behalf of me, then I'll probably be fine, you know. But if based on my actions, the people that are close to me will be harmed by it, I won't do it. Even as much as I want to, I probably won't do it. Because people that I value is more worth it than the things that I want to do. At the end of the day, I love and I choose to be surrounded with people that matters to me. So it's just a small compensation of doing things that you know will gonna be for the greater good. I think that's how I see it. In other words, none of us are perfect, yet some people look more perfect. Yes, and I think that's a problem within it itself, actually. If you think that person is too perfect, then there's already jealousy or envy in your own head. And I've said this many times, and you guys don't have to agree with me on this. I analyze that jealousy is still an emotion. It's normal. It just means there's an underlying thing. It doesn't have to be the other person. It has to be you. Why do you feel this way? Now, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to react in a way that it will create drama, intrigue? It will create like chaos in your immediate surrounding? Or you're going to turn that jealousy or envy in a good thing? Early on in my life, I already learned that jealousy is an emotion. It just means that you have to get better at something so you don't feel that way about yourself. So when I feel that way, I will turn it into motivation and find ways where I can be okay with it. Because not everyone is living the same life. Some people have more privilege than others. Some people are born more genetically gifted than others. It's just a thing. But for me, I thank God for my parents because I think even though I'm a very short lady, I think I'm good with genetics. And that's a big issue for me in my community. We are told as children, you should do whatever an elder tells you without question. Oh, yes. And I come from a generation, it's like, no. I love my grandmother because every time she would tell me, it's like, you're not blah, 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 blah. And I'm the one who's always like, hold on. Why is it like you can do that and I can't? And they would say like, because you're a kid. Okay. So why is a kid not allowed to go there? I asked too many questions. And I learned that you cannot ask too many questions like that. You'll just have to read between the lines eventually. I never heard a man say he wished his girl was taller. Never. For the last part of it, guys, avoid taking boundaries personally. I don't know what phase in your life you are in right now, but I've learned that the key to kind of like a peaceful mindset is do not take things too personal. I carry it with me every day, every single time, because I think it really works for me. People would have their different baggages throughout their life. Sometimes, even though it's very, very dumb for us, for them, one word can trigger them. One word can make them really, really like crazy looking or bashful or, all of that negative traits. So for me, whenever I am meeting someone or interacting with someone, I really appreciate it when a person, rather than take it too personal that they're triggered and they would attack me, I'd rather they express that what I said was very insensitive, so that I know that this word is sensitive for you. It doesn't mean it's sensitive for me or for anybody else. But at least I know that I have to be very careful with the certain words, and I have to actually present myself and the context and what do I mean, because I accept that I want to be in a streaming like this. It's a responsibility and accountability that not everyone would be okay with the words I'm going to choose in my stream. But if you're just going to attack me without knowing the context, how dumb are you kind of way? Overarching theme is obsessed with parents' approval. Yes, so very, very well said. I think it is down to 3 with this article, but it's the same thing that I've said. And it all comes down to individual. Your parents is your parents. They're gonna do whatever they think is good for you and probably for them, depending on what kind of parents do you have. But at the same time, as a child, you're going to be an adult one day and you're going to live your life the way you want it to be. Once you're an adult, you're going to be accountable for your own actions, and you have to set boundaries for yourselves as well as an adult, even if it is your own family. And I always say that do not shame people when they put boundaries in there. That's where manipulation comes down with it. If a person steps on your boundaries and they get angry at you because you expressed they're stepping onto your boundaries, then that's not your problem. That's the people's problem, stepping on the boundaries and not thinking that there's going to be consequences about it. You're just reacting with what they are doing. So at the end of the day, choose people that you will spend time with your lives, and make sure that if you are consuming online, even me, cross-reference whatever I say. If you think otherwise, express it here, because there are a lot of people who wants to share their own perspective as well, and it would create a huge brainstorming for all of us who just wants to be happy at the end of the day.
Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray.